Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, an insurance broker at USI Insurance Services, specializing in technology companies and insurance for them. Today, my guest is actually also in the insurance industry and will be coming on in just a second. Hey, Katie, how are you? We're just waiting for Paul to just jump on this. It might take him a second. We were just troubleshooting getting him into the room, so it'll be coming on he'll be coming on in just a second. But a little backstory on Paul. Paul Odendahl is an insurance guru. Really, he's what I've heard people call him or refer to him as the insurance Jedi master. And he has a great extensive knowledge on insurance. He's a teacher who teaches insurance classes to be able to get people licensed, and he does continuing education courses. He also has a point reduction driver education course that he also offers at Destination for Education. And he'll be coming on just in a minute or so. As I said, there he is. All right. So Digital Paulo, I like it. I like your name, Paul. All right, we're going to get you on right now. And should be coming on. It always just takes a second for it to connect, and then your screen will show up with me there. And it should be coming on. There we are. It looks like.
There we go.
There you go. We cut our heads off. Let's go ahead and adjust our screen so that people can see your full head. So you're a Vikings fan.
I've been a Vikings fan for a long time, my friend.
A very long time, huh?
Thank you for the opportunity to be on your call. You got me away from my computer.
You're very, very welcome. Well, let me do a proper introduction for you. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paul Odendahl, and he is the guru of insurance, the master of insurance. In fact, I'm going to quote Michael McClay, who is one of the insurance brokers at USI with me. When I mentioned you were coming on the show today, he said, I call him the Jedi of insurance. So thank you so much, Paul, for honoring us with your presence here on the show.
Again, Michael, thank you for the opportunity. It's a blessing. And thank you, Michael McClay, for such a wonderful introduction.
Yep. So I'm going to read a quote that you sent to me, and I think is such a great way to start our show today and hearing about your background, what you do, and why you do it. And that quote is, "The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your contribution. When you work to improve the lives of others, your life improves automatically." Hurrick Ashley. And Paul, you sent that quote to me, and I read that quote, and then I read the rest of the email of everything that you do. And I think it's so fitting to you and your life and what you do, and so fitting to our conversation today on the Shining Light podcast, because this whole show is about the contribution to our communities. And so what I would love to hear first is, what is it exactly that you do, Mr. Jedi?
Well, what I do at this point in my career is I spend most of my time in the Hudson Valley and across the United States doing insurance licensing and driver education also. So insurance licensing, I prepare people for their property and casualty license, their life and health license, and their securities license. And once they have that license, like Michael McClay and yourself, every 2 years when you renew, you need continuing education. So I support the community with that. And then also I do a lot of tutoring. So a lot of large agencies like Marshall and Sterling, USI. I just finished with Berger and Solomon in Ellenville. Did something for Irwin Siegel recently up in Rock Hill. But a lot of the local agencies come to me for assistance in tutoring students, preparing them for their licensing. So primarily at this point in my life, I'm spending most of my time giving back, which is a blessing to an industry that's been so good to me. I mean, it's been tremendously good to me.
Yeah, and I think back of my insurance classes and what the at the time, of course, I mean not that long ago, but we were in person. I didn't do it online, and I think back of the students there, and I share on the shining light of why I got into the insurance industry to help other businesses and help people. But I'd like to hear it from you as the teacher, as the instructor who's up in front of the room and teaching this material that's very important material for us to learn. as insurance brokers and as insurance agents, your idea of what an insurance broker is, and what kind of feedback do you get from these students that are out there becoming brokers, why they're in that class?
Well, Michael, you're feeding right into my passion. You're feeding right into my passion. And a little bit of it's my story. So this story goes all the way back to age 5. At age 5, I was thinking about this earlier today. I said at age 5 is really when this career begins, because that's when I wanted to teach. And I got involved in the industry when I was 24 back in 1982. And right out of the gate, I was teaching individuals at Prudential about property and casualty as we just started to make our way into the property and casualty industry, since Prudential at that point was primarily life and health. Fast forwarding to now, and your question, one, there's been a big change for me with this pandemic, changing from classroom to virtual. That's probably something to be discussed also. But my goal in teaching, tutoring, mentoring people like yourself, Michael McClay was one of what I call my disciples, God bless him, that went through my class, is to develop quality insurance agents. And my passion for that is, I believe that in this industry, there's no larger calling for anyone on this planet other than being a pastor, in my opinion. And the second largest calling is the opportunity to be an insurance agent and affect individual and family lives. And early in my career, back in 1984, I had a local gentleman who passed away only 5 hours after I collected a check and an application, and Prudential paid $425,000 to that family on a $375 check. And from that point off, my career really began to take off, both in sales, but more importantly, in building relationships and knowing the value of that pen and piece of paper. You can actually really make tremendous differences in people's lives. And you and Michael McClay will continue to do that. And my goal is to have more insurance agents like you guys that have a passion for really not just selling policies, but taking care of customers and their needs and making a difference in families and individuals' lives. That's really my passion, is to develop really good insurance agents. It's not just to get them licensed. After I license individuals, often they continue to stay in contact with me, not just for the continuing ed, but for mentoring, for consultation, for suggestions on how to do certain things within the industry. And I'm always there to help them. I want to be there. God has called me to be there to help them, and that's what I'm going to do in the remaining days in this insurance career.
Yeah, it's a very interesting career, being an insurance broker, being an insurance agent, because yeah, there's always, look, we all need to make our financial goals of some sort, but there's
Mm-hmm.
other ways to do it. And when I think about insurance, it's a hard way to do it, because you really do have to know a lot, and you have to know a lot of material. And then the person that you're selling to is really counting on you. You know, if you're selling a car, not to take anything away from somebody selling a car, you're selling a car, once the car is sold, it's really on the car. It's on the car company to perform. But a lot of times as an insurance broker, as an insurance agent, we really take it personal, the sale of, like, when I sell you a policy, I'm there for you, and I better know that I sold you the right policy, because of, like, what you just said, you know, selling a life insurance policy, once that check is handed over, then that's the payout. That's it. The policy's in effect, and that's going to do whatever you told that person it's going to do, and it better do that, because that spouse is counting on it at that point. So it was a very good story that you shared with us.
Yeah,
This
we're
is the shining.
transferring risk. We're transferring risk in life to an insurance carrier that's going to provide for coverage for that risk.
That's
And
right.
we, as insurance agents and brokers, that's a very large responsibility, and making sure we do what's best for the customer. A motto that I have followed all my life, and thank you for quoting that quote, but for all my life in my insurance industry, has been service before self. And that's what it's about. It's about providing service and making sure we properly protect the families out there that we build relationships with.
And I want to hear more about those services. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paul Odendahl. And Paul, so we just spoke about you as an instructor. We're speaking about all the great things and services that you provide, and all the great tutoring and mentorship that you offer your agents and brokers. But what's the name of your company, and how can people reach you? And what is it that you do exactly primarily today?
All right, so the name of the company is Destination for Education.
That's
The
right.
great news is our new insurance education website is just about complete. It's about 90% complete. Within the next couple of days, it'll be complete. You can go there now, see the new little avatar of Paul, which everybody will recognize. It's like in the driver education side that I teach. Everyone recognizes my Subaru that travels all over the Hudson Valley with digital defensive driving on it. They recognize that before me, but you'll recognize the little avatar of me. So you can go there for all the educational services that I provide. And now what's changed is making this transition from classroom, which was difficult for me, I must say. First of all, again, thank you, Michael, for this opportunity. My first podcast with you, my friend, which is
And
a
you're crushing
blessing.
it.
Well, I'm glad. I'm nervous. I got to tell you, I'm nervous, but I'm glad you think I'm crushing it. But
That's only
first
because you're a
podcast,
Vikings fan.
well, that I've dealt with all my life. But first opportunity to do a podcast, but making this transition to virtual actually has been a blessing because I can help more people. I'm able to help more people, not only in the Hudson Valley, but I'm helping people across the nation. I just insured a woman in Missouri. I just helped someone in California with their continuing education. So I'm helping people across the nation. So it's a real blessing. So Destination for Education is the website. The best way to reach me is destinationforeducation@gmail.com. I'm on the email all day long. I'm always building relationships, supporting people with their continuing education to keep their licensing going, and helping new people coming into the industry. And I think maybe a future podcast that I've been asked to do, maybe you and I can do this, Michael, is the passion to have new people come in. Because you just don't grow up in this world and say, I'm going to grow up to be an insurance agent. It never happens. You don't go to college and say, you know what? I'm going to college to be an insurance agent. It never happens. It really is almost like a calling, like a pastor. And I really would like to spend some of my time, not just education, but mentoring new, young, professional people into the industry. It's an amazing industry. It's amazing.
It is. It is. And so what I'll ask you to do, and sort of for everybody watching, is Paul will put the website name and all the different contact for him in the comments to this video so that you can be able to contact him. So Paul, obviously you're leading right into my question of some positive outcome with this quarantine, with, what do you see as it? And you're leading into that with this being able to scale your business now. You're actually able to see more people and get across from not just in the Hudson Valley anymore, but even out to California. I was actually just looking at a tech company because that's what I work with is tech companies. And somebody was asking me about it. And I said, well, it's actually out in California. And they're like, really? And I was like, honestly, I don't know if pre-COVID I would have prospected this account. But now, since we're in this virtual environment, I'm like, hey, why not? Everybody's used to this video conferencing. So what's the difference whether I do it in New York or in California? It's all the same. So it really has opened it up. So let me ask you bluntly, Nen. So what do you see as the positive outcome? We've talked about the virtual. So outside of that, what else do you see as a positive outcome to some of the quarantine that we've experienced?
Well, for me, a lot of individuals are coming to me to talk to me about, Paul, how have you built over the years these relationships? And for me, it's a good opportunity to, while making this paradigm shift to this new virtual world, to walk along with these people and share what I used to do in person-to-person contact, classroom-to-classroom contact, table-to-table contact on a virtual basis. And I have to tell you, a mastermind group that I belong to, who has been a tremendous assistance to me, has mentioned, and it's true, you just need to be you. I was very nervous at first, and it's a matter of being you. And now I have an opportunity to be you, not just at Dutchess Community College, not just here in the Hudson Valley, throughout the entire country. And what an opportunity to build productive agents who really care and have a passion for what we do and care for their clients, not just here, around the country. This is really, truly an amazing opportunity and an amazing time. And the timing is just right for me to learn this virtual world.
And you're really, really great at building relationships. In fact, that's how you and I kind of met, was because you built a virtual relationship with me through LinkedIn. I actually don't want to take the wind out of your sails. I'd like you to share that strategy with me, with our viewers here, of what you did to get me to call you, because I don't think you did it intentionally, but just your virtual relationship with me on LinkedIn made me say, I need to connect with this guy.
Michael, I'm going to ask you, before I answer that, I'm going to ask you to slowly read that quote once again.
Sure,
Read the
sure.
initial quote that you read.
Sure, sure. So let me just reintroduce you. This is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael. I'm starting all over again. I'm sorry. My guest today, Paul Odendahl. You can visit his website, which is at Destination for Education, and he'll be dropping a link in there. And we're just talking about his background in insurance, and then we're talking about his relationship building and how he builds relationships. And something that he's having me reference, because he's going to elaborate on it for us, is a quote that he sent over to me, and that is, "The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your contribution. When you work to improve the lives of others, your life improves automatically." Keurig Ashley.
Michael, you're beginning an amazing career in insurance. I'm going to take you back 40 years ago. And when I started in this career, and this is in sales in general, when I started in this career, salespeople are taught to have a sales approach. And when you meet with someone, you're not successful unless you complete the sale on that first meeting. I never, ever did that when I started with a company called Prudential. We used to have to report twice a week, and I would have to come in and talk about my sales, and I would upset my manager at the time that I would never have a sale on the first call. And then I rose in that organization to be in the top in the country in sales. It's not about just selling people a service or a product. It's about building relationships. It's about getting to know your customer. It's about caring about them and finding out what the specific need is and what they're trying to accomplish with the service that you're offering. It's not just about making the sales. Supporting someone like you, as an example, doing this podcast, or you in the industry. I, every day, support other businesses who come to me, and they send me stuff that I can put out on my social media platform to support them. And my competitors will always say, I don't understand. Why do you do that? I've done that my entire career. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. And it's about helping one another. And for me, it has always come back to support me. It has always come around to where I get referrals. Anyone in sales prays for the day, works for the day, that they spend their entire day just getting referrals. I get referrals all day long, but I also spend a good part of my day supporting other businesses in any way I can. And we should just do that in life in general. It's about relationship building. It's not just about selling.
That's right. Yep. And so the strategy, or at least not strategy, because you do it so casually, I guess, but you formed a relationship with me on LinkedIn, and what you did was you were just liking posts, commenting on posts, and honest about it. And I always speak about that with people, is like, it's not about forming a fake relationship like anybody else. There's other people that go on my LinkedIn and like things, and I don't have any relationship with them. But your commentary, the things that you liked were genuine. I could tell, because you weren't just liking my entire page. I've seen people do that, where they just go to someone's and they're just liking everything on the page. Okay, well, we know what you're doing there. You're just looking for attention, right? But you were specific, and you commented specifically on certain things, or you reshared things specifically because you felt that they brought value to your people as well. And so when you and I connected, and I asked you, I asked you outright, I said, "What are you trying to sell me?" You said, "Nothing. I just like your posts." And I thought that was so cool and so genuine, that I want everybody to know that's when we're talking about relationships, because I talk about that too. It has to be genuine. It's you got to build a relationship, but it has to be genuine. You can't, like, I like cars. You can't, if you don't like cars, you can't just say, "Hey, I like cars too." You got to be genuine. You got to find something in there. Maybe you like the mechanics of cars, and we could find that commonality and start talking about that. But That's what I really liked about you, and I wanted everybody to know about, because I think, like you said, in being in sales and you having a business, the business that you do, the relationships are so important, because they are just the key to it all. They're the happiness in it all too. Is like, if we don't have a relationship with each other when we're making a sale or when we have a client, it's empty, right?
That's right. That's right. And Michael, it's my passion. It's part of my DNA. Sometimes I have more and more people coming to me to discuss this. It's just part of me. To me, it seems simple. It's just part of me. And I think that we should all do it. It's a blessing to be able to speak about it. You know, I was thinking, I mentioned this to you, the quote again, the quality of life for yourself from the quality you give to others. That particular quote was given to me on a plaque as I was the education director with BNI. What a great organization, and what a blessing that period of time was, because just education is what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, it's about having relationships with people, building friendships, building business relationships, building personal relationships, caring about others, and doing what's best for them first. And if you get to the opportunity to live a life like that, this is the best part. The best part, which I think, again, is maybe another podcast. All of us, I've been in this business for a long time. It's not an easy business, as you mentioned earlier. All of us work to get to a point in life where we absolutely love what we're doing. Michael, I love what I'm doing. I get up every day, even if I'm nervous about a podcast like this, I get up every day looking to do two things. In the driver education side, I look to save lives. And my motto for that side is saving lives one class at a time, every day, especially with young drivers, especially with youthful drivers, which I have a tremendous relationship with. Saving lives, saving lives, saving lives, saving lives, saving lives. The other side, on the insurance side, is doing what's right for customers, teaching new agents to do what's right for customers, do need selling, making sure we're giving the right product to the right person for the right reason. And when you get to that point, and that's your DNA and your passion, you wake up every day loving what you do. And I interact with a lot of people that are not happy with what they do, which to me is sad. Mm-hmm. So my ultimate goal, and again, thank you for this opportunity. The ultimate goal is to get to the point before I leave here to spend more time with people, to assist them in any way I can to get to that point. Because I know plenty of people older than me, mentors of mine, colleagues of mine, that have gotten to the end of life with regrets and never said they really enjoyed and loved what they were doing. That's the biggest blessing in all of this, is to get to the point in life where every day you get up and like, this is going to be another great day, and I'm going to assist another person in some way, somehow, and make a difference in their life. And if you do that with that in mind and that goal in mind, the financial part of it, which is what other people do, they chase the financial part without building a relationship, will come. And the blessings you'll get in return are all the referrals I get every day. That's right. I love this Hudson Valley. I've lived my entire life in this Hudson Valley. In this Hudson Valley, I can't give back enough.
Yeah, you have to go after your passion first, and the money will come. It will come. So you're leading me into my next segment. But first, I want to acknowledge, I see Joe Sodoli is on here. And do you know Joe Sodoli?
I know Joe Sodoli.
You know Joe? So I got to give a shout out to you, Joe, if you're still on listening. You're the one who got me into the insurance business. So I see he's on here. Joe Sodoli was a recruiter for Allstate, and now I think he owns a farmer agency, or he's a recruiter for farmers. But he recruited me for Allstate, and that's where I started my career in insurance. So thank you, Joe, for getting me on this path. There's another
great influence. There's another great influence, Michael, Joe Sodoli.
Yes. That's right. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paul Odendahl, the owner of Destination for Education. You could visit his website. You could email him there on Gmail, and he'll put all of that in the comments. He's offering CE credits for agents, driver's education for obviously youthful drivers, but also anybody who's just trying to save some money on their car insurance. Visit him. Go to him. He's doing it online as well. And he's got so much more, so much great mentorship that he offers to everyone. You've been talking so much about giving back, giving back, giving back, and I know that that's in your DNA. So please, Paul, share with us what's going on in your community. What acts of kindness and generosity are you witnessing today?
What I'm seeing, what I have not had an opportunity to spend enough time in is the Lions. I'm a Lion and a member of the Middletown Lions Club. I really need to find the time to spend more time there. Prior to that, being involved with BNI and assisting other businesses, entrepreneurs in that business was a wonderful thing. But right now, probably two of my biggest passions are LinkedIn and Alignable. And you introduced me to HVFLI,
Yep.
which is another great opportunity for small businesses here in the Hudson Valley. And I'll promote other people's businesses on that all day long. But in Alignable, we use as an example, that has a national reach, but it was really built for local small businesses. And Bloomingburg, as an example, we have 70-some businesses in that local group that I'm a member of. And I've just started an insurance group, Michael, that I need to invite you to. But there we talk again about collaboration, not competition, and ways to help support one another to be successful in business. So again, it's another opportunity for me to give back to this Hudson Valley. Whatever community groups I can get involved in is a blessing. And you introducing me to HVFLI on Facebook was a wonderful opportunity to me, because there's a lot of people in the Hudson Valley that I would love to assist, mentor. And it doesn't have to just be the insurance industry. Anything I can help them with in building relationships and in building their customers is a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring them up, because HV Gold, HVFLI is actually doing a trunk or treat. They're having an open trunk at Lily Ray on the Hamlet for Halloween for all trick-or-treaters to go, and they're doing it safe. They have all the hand sanitizers and everything. So we'll be getting that message out too. So thank you for bringing that up, Paul. Paul, we're going to be wrapping up the show, but before we do, we've been under quarantine, and thankfully some of the restrictions have been lifted and may be coming back, but we don't know what it's going to be. What's one place that you miss that you haven't been able to visit or see or do, or maybe you've been able to now during this quarantine?
All right, that's a great question and an easy one for me to answer. We've spent most of the time talking about insurance education, almost 40 years in the business. I have a tremendous passion for that. Driver education is something I became involved in a little over 25 years ago. I love saving lives on our nation's highway. But there is a particular class that I teach for the judges in Dutchess County at Dutchess Community College, and I also teach down in Westchester, that centers itself around 16 to 25-year-olds who have licensing tickets, repeat offenders, and as an alternative sentencing to their ticket, they come to see Paul for 4 hours. I absolutely miss these kids. I can't even begin to understand, as the 62-year-old guy, and these guys are 16 to 25, and they come to each class with an issue with the courts, with an issue with law enforcement, with an issue with life. I don't know what happens in the transformation of class, but these kids know that I care about them. They know I'll do whatever I can do to help them turn things around. And they know, more importantly, I want them to be safe out there, and I don't want something to happen to them on the highway. I miss that more than anything, being with these young drivers. That is a tremendous passion of mine.
Is that a course that you can offer online, or
No, it's not available. Yeah, it's not available online. So we're waiting for restrictions to be lifted so we can go back to, and I believe restrictions are going to be lifted so we can go back to a classroom atmosphere like that. And again, I've also been working on helping other locations like Westchester, is how I got the class started with the courts down in Westchester. And they asked me to come down there and start teaching the classes. And now I've trained a gentleman in Westchester to do the classes. So part of the passion is teaching and training others. It's not about competition. It's not about competition.
I love that you do that. I'm glad that you brought that class up. I didn't know about it. And I think, I've had a heavy foot since my very beginning. I'll be very honest. I've had speeding tickets. And in fact, I'll tell you a quick story. I got a speeding ticket within the first week of me getting my license. And if anybody knows anything about getting your driver's license, you're on a probation period when you get your license. So because I got a speeding ticket in my first week, my license got suspended. So I ended up in a black hole of speeding tickets. And I didn't know, I didn't have the opportunity that you offer. But I think that if I had that opportunity when I was, 18 years old, that would have helped me tremendously. It took my wife to be able to help me get out of it all, to be able to slow down a little bit. But I think what you offer these people that, have a lead foot or have a little trouble on the road, you offer them a different way, a different point of view, which sometimes when you're behind the wheel and you're moving fast, you think you're the only person on the road, and you think you're invincible. And it takes somebody like you, Paul, somebody like my wife, to put some perspective in your mind and understand you're not the only person on the road. There's other people that are trying to get to where they want to get to as well, and they want to get there safely. And so you need to slow down so that we all can do that. So I really love that that's something that you do and offer, because I'm sure the impact of that is just exponential.
Yes, there's a future story in that also, Michael, because that's passion driven for many years, but really was cemented in me when back 11 years ago, a teenage friend of mine right here in the Hudson Valley that I've known since he was 16, I was 19, lost his left leg and his left arm. And I bring him to the class sometimes. He's come to the college to speak to the students, and they've seen the artificial leg and the artificial, almost like a rubber arm, because he couldn't afford both prosthetic devices. But it has a tremendous impact on the young people, and they realize that I'm really concerned about their well-being on the highway.
Yep. Yeah. And when you put that into perspective, like you did, like such a true, you could see this, and then the numbers and everything. And when you learn about it, and me getting into the insurance industry and learning more, I think sometimes it's just the education of understanding the severity of what speeding does. Not that we don't do it. Like, look, let's be honest here, right? But I'm saying like that irrational speeding, that overly aggressive behavior on the road. But that's a whole other conversation, because we do need to wrap the show. Paul, this was tremendous. It was wonderful having you on the show. You are such a great connection. I'm so happy that you and I were able to connect. I'm so happy that you built this virtual connection with me and were able to come here. Before we wrap up, I would like to give you the mic one last time. Any last message, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our audience?
The final thoughts again, Michael. Thankful for the opportunity. I look forward to future work together. I will continue to promote you. You should have more individuals in the Hudson Valley on these podcasts, because we need to tell our story. People need to hear the story of other people.
That's right.
And it's just been a blessing to work with you, a blessing to work in this industry. And anyone out there that's watching this podcast, if they need assistance in driver education or insurance education, please reach out and contact me.
Great. This has been the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. My guest today has been Paul Odendahl, and he has a class on, I just moved your website, Destination for Education. Did I get it right?
That's right.
Destinationforeducation.com, destinationforeducation@gmail.com. And he's going to drop all of that in the comments. Visit his website, email him, just email him, shoot him an email, say, hey, Paul, saw the podcast and want to connect. Just connect with him. He's a master connector. He's not just going to do a CE credit course or save you some money in your car insurance. He's also going to connect you to all the right people. Paul knows everyone. He knows everyone. So connect with Paul on LinkedIn, email him, send him over your contact info, sign up for one of his courses, and I think you'll be on your way. Paul, thanks again so much for coming on the show. Shout out to Joe Sidoli if you're still watching. Joe did say hello to you, Paul, by the way, in the comments here. So I want to thank everybody for watching the Shining Light Video Podcast Show. This show has been sponsored by HV Gold Rewards, which is one of the largest networking groups in the Hudson Valley. And as you mentioned, Paul, it is HVFLI on Facebook. You could visit them. You could become a member. Ramon does a tremendous job on promoting his members, on keeping small business alive, on making sure that small businesses know about each other, and that everybody in the community knows about each other, and understanding the importance of supporting small business. And visit their Facebook page. They're doing a really great event for Halloween, which is the Trick Trick or Trunk, which will be held at Lily Ray in the Hamlet in Highland, New York. So visit the website, find out about it. They're going to be doing some safe trick-or-treating for the kids. It's all going to be with hand sanitizers and clean and everything, and there's going to be a lot more information there. Paul, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Bye, Paul.
Bye, everyone.